Please like the video if you found it helpful and subscribe.
Okay, thank you. That was hopefully that was helpful. That was the video to how to raise your hand. We're gonna quickly just review a video of how to use the chat feature.
A little video to show you how to use the chat feature. So here I have a Zoom window open and I'm pretending this is not really the meeting. I'm going to just pretend that the meeting is happening. And then you were looking for a button that said text. No. Look along the bottom of your screen. You'll see mute, which turns on and off your microphone. Stop video. If I stop video, you won't see me anymore. And instead, you'll just see that. So that way, if you don't want people to see your face, you can stop your video. If you don't want them to hear your sound, you can mute your microphone. And then if you keep going over, you'll see something that says chat. When I click on this chat button, do you see my mouse moving around the screen? Chat button's right down here. When I click on it, something's going to open up. It will either pop up as a separate window or it might open up on the side here. So follow my mouse down. If I wanted to type in a chat message for everyone in the meeting to read, I click in this field down here. It says type message here. And I'm going to say, and I'm going to type a message to you. And I typed it, and then I hit return, and then it pops up here. So remember, these chats are mostly public. It says to everyone. So just understand that when you type in the chat, you're not talking just to me, but everyone in the class will be able to see. Okay? And then if you want to type something again, you type again, and you hit return, and it pops up here. And then I'll be able to see if you type in a question for me or comments or that sort of thing. So I hope that helps.
Okay, Mominin, hopefully that was helpful. Once again, sorry about that. Once again, my name is Ali Hasnali. I'm the president of New York Jamaat. I wanted to welcome you all once again to this amazing Amazon webinar. I will not be wasting too much of your time, so I will pass along to our lead panelist, Brother Mujahid Dungarsi, who will be going ahead and leading this presentation, as well as he'll be introducing our other fellow great panelists as well. Brother Mujahid, please, over to you. Bismillah.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Mujahid Dungarsi, and we'll be working on this webinar today. Ali had actually approached me a couple of months ago in regards to trying to do a webinar for an introduction to selling on Amazon. So I agreed, and then what I did was him and I, we searched out other people that are selling on Amazon as well, and we approached them and asked them if they could help us for this panel. So the following people, Ali Dinani, Faisal Dirani, Askar Dedar, Ali Habib, and Arif Somji, they all agreed and we decided that we would do this webinar for you guys. I've been selling on Amazon for about 3 years. I teach full-time and do Amazon part-time, as well as other e-commerce platforms. The rest of the team, Ali Dinani, Faisal, Askar, Ali Habib, and Arif, they've all been selling on Amazon as well as other platforms. And we're just going to give you some brief information on selling on Amazon specifically. Just a disclaimer, I know everybody was supposed to sign this before they came, but for those of you that did not get a chance to sign it, we just want to let you know that the views and opinions expressed by the presenters today are solely their opinions based on their personal experiences. The information presented today should not be taken as fact. Any conclusion reached or decision made by the listeners during or after the session is strictly their own and is not at the direction, suggestion, or implication of the session or the speakers. With that, what I will do is I will turn it over to Ali. And just to let you guys also know that this is just very basic information. It might not be something that that more experienced sellers will be able to relate to. It's going to be very basic information. With that, I will turn it over to Ali Hussein Dinani.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Once again, I'd like to thank everyone for joining in today. I'm Ali Hussein Dinani, and I currently work for a company that deals with e-commerce advertising, and I've also been selling on Amazon on and off for a few years now as a source of supplemental income. There's been a lot of buzz recently around e-commerce and how it's been implemented in our everyday lives. No one can deny the satisfaction you get when a package arrives at the door. The exact same item you're looking for is available with reviews and advice shipped to your house without you leaving the bed. But before we dive in to show you how you can become a facilitator of this phenomenon, I want to briefly go over the e-commerce landscape just to give you an idea of how lucrative it can be. All of us joining in today are a group of different situations, skill sets, and talents. But from what I've seen with e-commerce, there is room for everyone. As we can see from the graph here, over the past 9 years, we have seen continued growth in e-commerce, becoming 11% of all retail sales in the US at $600 billion in 2019. In 2020, we have seen the largest year-over-year growth, mostly in part due to the recent pandemic. Whether it was because of a lockdown, social responsibility, or just general anxiety of being in the public, what has happened is that many consumers who have never purchased online were forced to learn how to do so. And as you can see in the data presented, the forecasts are showing over $1 trillion in e-commerce sales in 2023, with most projections forecasting 1/3 of all retail sales being done online by 2030. Let's break this down even further. Who is involved? In this graphic, we see the top 10 players and their estimated 2020 e-commerce sales. I want to note here that the top 3, Amazon, eBay, and Walmart, all allow third-party sellers. Amazon, the largest, with 39% of all e-commerce retail sales, has the largest reach to all consumers and is what we will be talking about today. In 2020, third-party sellers like us make up 54% of the sales. That's roughly $170 billion. With any large business, there's a lot of moving parts that are key to the function of their main business. You can be involved either directly or indirectly with Amazon and create a business off of some of the following models. There's logistics, the obvious being delivering the goods that are sold on Amazon to the consumer. But you can also open up your own private preparation center and help major sellers with fulfillment. Software, you can develop programs that help sellers, buyers, and wholesalers alike. For example, help with sourcing, price comparison, inventory, etc. If it's a quality application, it can be picked up by a larger company, and we will be looking at some of these applications later. Affiliate marketing, which is earning a commission by promoting another company's product. Product photography. Correct photography is huge when setting up a unique listing. Consulting, sellers pay good money for advice and strategy on navigating the marketplace. And search engine optimization. You can help sellers improve their web presence organically with SEO services. There are many models you can explore. Today, we'll be focused on selling on Amazon, and we will continue the webinar with Faisal, who will take us through some of these different strategies on Amazon sales.
Thank you, Ali. Thanks for sharing all these interesting numbers and getting us all excited about selling on Amazon. Now that we know the power of e-commerce, what's next? Let's first talk about strategies that apply on selling on Amazon. There are 3 unique methods of selling on Amazon: private label, wholesale, retail, and online arbitrage. Let's start with examining private label. Private label, as a third-party seller, It's your own product. Sellers tend to source it from countries like China, India, and whatnot. Then they brand it and they sell it on Amazon at a retail price. Here's an example of a private label. As you can see, right now it's selling for $23.97 on Amazon. It's a scratch-off map of the United States. This is Alibaba. This is where a third-party seller would purchase this and source it and then brand it and sell it on Amazon for a profit. Wholesale. Selling wholesale on Amazon's platforms involves buying in bulk directly from the manufacturer at a discounted rate and then selling them on Amazon at a retail price. Then you have retail arbitrage and online arbitrage. This method is used when a third-party seller sources a product from a big box store such as Walmart, Target, Best Buy, etc. The difference between retail and online is one method is actually going to the store and the other one is shopping online. Here's a quick example of an online arbitrage product. Let's say after this webinar, you decide to go to walmart.com. You come across this listing for a razor foldable stick for $39.99. Then you sell it on Amazon for $119. That's how you find a potential profitable product. Finding a potential profitable product comes with experience over time for any of these methods above. Like in any business, you want to know your numbers. You want to monitor the fact if you're really making profit or not. Understanding these, there are several different fees that are involved when it comes to selling on Amazon. There's selling plans. There are two different types of plan. There's an individual seller account, and then there's a professional seller account. An individual seller account is for a seller who's selling less than 40 products a month, and there's a charge of 99 cents for each item sold. A professional account is for a seller who's selling more than 40 items a month, and there's a $40 monthly fee for this plan. Then you have Amazon referral fees. Depending on the product, this ranges anywhere from 4 to 65%, but most of the categories are within the range of 15%. Then you have FBA fee. This fee is a per unit, which includes picking, packing, shipping and handling, customer service, and product returns. Now, all of this is handled by Amazon. There are other fees to note as well: inventory fees, refund fees, media fees, and high volume listing fees. Okay, so how do I start selling on Amazon? What do I need? As a third-party seller, all you need is a bank account, a credit card, a government ID, and a phone number. At this point, you don't need to register a company. You don't need an LLC or a corporation. Okay, now that you've gotten a little familiar with the methods of selling on Amazon, let's take a look at a step-by-step plan. Determine which model you're going to use. Are you going to go with a private label, a wholesale, retail, or online arbitrage? Add the product onto your seller account. You can either jump on a listing or you can create a listing. For a beginner, I suggest jumping on a listing. Then you want to add inventory and determine how you're going to fulfill your orders to your customers, FBA versus FBM. Now let's chat a little bit about FBA and FBM. What is really FBA? What is really FBM? FBA, also known as fulfillment by Amazon. It's a method of selling on Amazon's platform in which the seller is sending products directly to Amazon, and Amazon's responsible for picking, packing, and shipping it to your customers. FBM. FBM is also known as fulfillment by merchant. This method is when a seller is responsible for shipping the product to the customers. Let's examine a few advantages of FBA. With FBA, you qualify for prime shipping to your customers. Buy box becomes more available, saving lots of time when it comes to labor and shipping and packaging. Let's look at some numbers. 66% of sellers do FBA. 29% do both FBA and FBM, and then there's 6% that does only FBM. Each method has its own sets of benefits, so you have to decide which one's right for your own business. Here's a question we get a lot. How much do I need to start on Amazon? Now, this is a total individual question and how much you're willing to invest and what your goals are. Some sellers start with 500 and some with 5,000. But in like any business, the role of cash flow applies. If you start with a lower amount, your cash flow and your buying power to invest on other products will be affected. The key here is to remember how fast to grow your money. What are your goals? What are your capabilities? How much time can you invest? How much manpower can you invest? These are things that you need to consider before you can consider how much money you really need. Moving along, Mujahid will get into more details about the buy box, the tools that we use, and lots more.
So Faisal, before we go to Mujahid, and if you don't mind, Mujahid, just a quick question, right? And
Sure.
this might be for anyone who I guess is complete novice at this. So as far when you mention about retail arbitrage and
Online arbitrage.
online arbitrage, so
Right.
that is an example of that would be like, for example, I would go to my local Walmart or my Marshall store. I find a product there that is, for example, on super sale, right? And then I find out how much it's being sold for on Amazon. And let's say if I'm buying it at $20 and I know it's been selling on Amazon for like $60, then less the fees, I can essentially figure out that I can basically make a profit there. That's your retail arbitrage, correct?
Absolutely. That's the concept. You hit it on the nail.
Yeah.
So that would be a typical retail arbitrage where you're actually going into the physical store. Now, that same concept applies when you're doing online arbitrage, but instead of going to the store, you're going on Walmart.com.
Right. Got it.
That's a good question. You have any other questions? Anyone else has a question? I know I was going with a lot of information about FBA and FBM, but we're here to help. And if you have any questions, you guys, I guess, raise your hands.
So one question we have from Dr. Maladina is the numbers. I believe that the ones that Ali Dinani presented, are these on e-commerce USA sales or worldwide?
So it's actually e-commerce for USA specifically.
Got it. Okay. And this opportunity, obviously we're at the basic level today, but essentially you can start this account and you can sell on different continents as well, right? You can sell on Amazon UK as well if you chose to, and if you're in that region, you don't have to be
Yes.
limited to this region.
Yes, absolutely. So, in fact, .com has the highest volume, definitely by a long shot. But then there are other up and coming markets that have lower hanging fruit because there's less competition there. I know the UK market is pretty good. The Germany market is pretty good. And there's other markets that are starting to come up. Canadian market is also there. It's once again, I would last I had checked, I think it was like third or fourth.
Got it.
But just
Okay.
like the way e-commerce is working, where between 1 and 2 there's such a difference. Same thing with Amazon.com versus whatever Amazon comes after that. There's a huge gap.
Got it. And now I think the next question is a perfect segue, I think, for our next topic, Mujahid, which is what are the benefits of FBA versus FBM, correct?
I think that was talked about already, but if anybody does need more questions on that, is there any more questions on that?
Yeah, so I guess if we can just recap the difference between the FBA and FBM, from what I understood is.
So FBA is fulfillment by Amazon, where you're actually sending your inventory to the Amazon's warehouse, where they handling the customer service, the picking and packing, and shipping it to your customer. When it comes to FBM, you're handling all of that. So when it comes to taking the inventory from your warehouse, packaging it, and shipping it directly to your customer, and you're responsible for the customer service as well.
And I guess just to follow up to that, Faisal, is that for the novice individuals who are just getting started, would you say that starting off with FBA is the least hassle and less worrisome, because at least they're doing most of the work for you, and you just have to worry about sending the shipment to the Amazon warehouse, and then they just take care of the rest?
Yes, absolutely. Especially in the beginning where you're learning things, you're not calculating the exact amount of fees. So it's best to send in something where you don't want to be hit with a shipping charge that's a lot more that eats into your profit. So also you want to be at the buy box, which Mujahid's gonna also touch on. that's one big benefit of FBA is you have a greater chance of landing on the buy box.
Right. So there's a lot of questions being asked, and we're going to try to get to all of those questions, definitely. Just to reiterate and speak more on what Faisal had said, the basic idea of FBA is I'm taking my products and I'm sending them to Amazon in a warehouse. When the sale happens, when the customer buys the product, I'm not shipping it to the customer. Amazon is shipping it to the customer. When it's FBM, I'm not shipping anything over to Amazon. When there's a sale happening and a buyer buys something from you, I have to ship it directly to the buyer. So that's the basic idea. I'll talk more about metrics and stuff like that later on, but that's the basic idea of that. There are other questions that I saw in the chat in regards to how do we do stuff like that. One thing you're going to notice, every one of these questions that you guys are asking are awesome and amazing, but a lot of these are going to be very deep, going very deep, and we're trying not to go into the weeds, but definitely we can look into that.
Yeah, and just to add to that, based on the questions coming in, as Mujahid mentioned, we don't want to go into. There are a lot of questions that might make us veer into the advanced topics of this subject. And this is not a subject you can learn overnight. If you go on YouTube, you'll see dozens and dozens of countless hours worth of videos. So we are trying to keep it as basic as possible to kind of just get you an overview. Inshallah, if there is interest, we can definitely plan on a more advanced view. But before that, I almost fell off my table right now when I saw Ali Asnali is asking a question. But apparently, there's a different Ali Asnali on the group, so he gets all priority over all questions. But inshallah, we'll get to the other questions. So Mujahid, why don't you continue with your next topic, please?
Sounds good. Okay, so the buy box. The buy box is something that's very important on Amazon. And one thing I've learned, and I didn't know what the buy box was before I started selling on Amazon. In fact, before I started selling on Amazon, I never bought anything on Amazon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen right now, Arif, if you don't mind, and I'm just going to show you a couple of different things. Give me 1 second, sorry. Okay, can everybody see my screen? Can you guys see my screen? Okay.
Yes, I can.
Thank you. Let me just move this over. Okay, so if you look over here, okay, this is the same pogo stick that we were talking about with Faisal, okay, and if you look, this is the actual Amazon listing. First thing, the buy box, what is that? Well, the buy box over here is where the buy box is. This is the buy box. This is where all the sales occur. Now, not all the sales, about 80% of the sales on Amazon happen here. Because normally what happens is when somebody's looking for something, they find something, they say, okay, this is what I want. They hardly read what's on here, most people. And if they do read, it's just basic reading. They're looking more at the picture, saying, okay, this is exactly what I want, add to cart or buy now, right? They're not sitting there wasting time looking at all this other information that's there, because Amazon is where people, it's the Google of shopping. So when people come, they're just quickly looking, do I want this? Yes, add it to cart or buy now. There's a lot of other information that's here that people don't necessarily know about, and it's very important as sellers, and I think as well as buyers as well. So let's go down and look at this over here. If you look down here, right, we have what's over here. It says new from $117.99 and free shipping. Now, I don't know if anybody noticed, the buy box is $123. So the buy box is not necessarily the cheapest product or the cheapest seller, sorry. It's the buy box. Somebody's winning the buy box. Now, why are they winning the buy box over others? I mean, the other guy has it cheaper. So why is he winning the buy box? The reason why he's winning the buy box is because of what's called different metrics that Amazon uses in their algorithm to be able to say, well, this is the best seller that should be on the buy box. Now, those metrics involve price. In this case, it's a competitive price. Amazon does consider this to be competitive pricing. Also, is it FBA? Is it FBM? Now let's look over here. This is FBM. There's no prime delivery on this. But for the most part, like I said, it does have a role to play in whether you're getting the buy box or not. You'd look at the FBA, FBM, other metrics such as customer feedback, account history, stock levels. Okay, all those play into Amazon's algorithm of who wins the buy box. Now, the buy box is not something that's static. It's very dynamic. How is it dynamic? Because right now you could check this person could be on the buy box, but if you check maybe 2 hours from now, somebody else might be on the buy box. So it does move. If you're competitive enough, you can win a certain percentage of the buy box. Okay, so that is the buy box. The next thing that we want to talk about is different tools that we use. Now,
Just to add there, your customer ratings also has a big impact on that as well.
Right. So when I said customer feedback and account history, that all plays a role into your customer rating.
Right.
Okay. So the rating is not something that they're going to give you. Amazon doesn't tell you what your rating is, so they don't call it rating. They just call it seller metrics. Okay. So now let's look at the different things that we have over here on Amazon. I'm just going to show you guys a couple of tools, and that's going to be my part of it. I just want to show you guys a couple of tools that we use on Amazon to help us make our life easier, as well as help us do some research to see what sells.
And Mujahid, before you go into that, just for our audience, the view you are looking at right now is not what you and I would see when I go on my Amazon page, because you have subscribed to certain extensions, correct? That allow you to, as an Amazon seller, to get additional insights into this. So for those of you wondering why does his screen not look the same as mine, these are additional insights you can get by subscribing to various other tools that kind of collect the data in the back end and provide you with the metrics to make your decision to sell on Amazon.
Right, and that's what we're going to be talking about right now, in fact, the different tools. So for example, you would not see this over here on yours. You're not going to see this blue click button over here. You're not going to see this over here, okay? And these are all tools that we're going to be talking about, okay? So let's go into Amazon.com and let's just type in bungee cords, whatever. Okay, now if you had without the extensions, it would just basically show up like this. The thing that's loading right now, you would not see because you don't have the extension. Now, this extension, okay, is called DS Amazon View, and I'll show you a list of all the extensions that you would really need later on in a slide, but I just want to show you what those extensions do first, just so that you guys can get an idea as to what tools are beneficial. So if you look over here, just by searching something, right, now I'm able to see over here all this information that is helpful to me as a seller. The first thing is the best seller rank, which is basically talking about how fast something is selling. How many are you selling in a month? The lower this is, the better. The best one is 1, and then it goes from there. It tells me, is it being sold by Amazon or not? Right? How many sellers are selling it? And it also tells me the UPC of Amazon, which is called the ASIN. So now if I'm looking for bungee cords and I'm looking, and personally for me, I don't compete with Amazon much. So I won't look at this product right here. Already without even going in and looking to see who's selling it, I'm able to see that information. Okay, so that's something that we use just to make things quicker for ourselves. Like for example, I'd be like, oh wait, look, this one only has 1 FBA seller. See that? There's no Amazon on it. Can I compete with this guy, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so that's the first one. That's called, I forgot the name of it, but I'm gonna give it to you in a few minutes when we pull it up. Okay, the next one that I wanna show you is once we click on something, we go into the listing page. This over here is called Rev Seller. Now, RevSeller is a pretty cool tool, and that is because it's going to give me my profits right on the page. So when we found this product, we saw that this product was $39.99. We go on here on the listing, we go here and we put in $39.99 for our cost or buy cost, press enter, and it tells me all my information. It tells me that if I can sell it at this price, which automatically at default keeps it to the lowest price, which I've kept it at, okay, is $118, $39.99, I'd make $49.97. Now, what does that mean in terms of my ROI, my return on investment? That's 125% return on investment. I'm getting my full $40 back basically, plus 25% more. Okay, so this is a great growth. 42% margin, profit margin. So that's this tool right here, RevSeller.
And just to point something out here, Mujahid, if you don't mind,
Sure.
is for the folks, if you think about FBA and FBM, right? You would think FBA, because Amazon is doing all the work, that's going to be the most expensive route. Like, why would I do that, right? Well, let me just sell it myself. But look at this breakdown here. You actually are making more money if you send it through FBA instead of FBM, because for whatever fees and all that stuff you might have as well. Because keep in mind, you're going to be paying for your own shipping as well. So now, Mujahid, I don't know if you want to spend any more time there, but I thought it was an interesting.
Absolutely, we can talk about that. That's
Yeah.
something definitely that's interesting to talk about. If you look at the numbers, like Ali said, FBM is showing only $44 in profit, and FBA is showing $49.97 in profit. Well, the reality also is that number 44.88, for me personally, because I have not done too much FBM, maybe somebody can show me how you can pay $15, because that's what this app is. This extension is averaging $15. You see that $15.43 shipped to buyer. Now, in my experience, something like a razor, that kind of a box, if I send it all the way to California, I'm not paying $15 for shipping. I'm paying a lot more for shipping. So that number 44.88 of your profit is going to go down. So now just to recap, so I'll pay more shipping if I'm doing FBM. It's more work if I do FBM, because for every sale that I'm making, I personally have to send out myself, right? Customer complaints doesn't reach them. It's damaged, it's lost, all that. It's on me, right? As opposed to sending it over to Amazon, let them take care of a lot of the headaches and make more profit. So it's kind of like a no-brainer there. Might as well do FBA. Okay, there are exceptions to the rule, of course, but I don't want to get too much into that. But on average, and we had spoken about this, there are people that do only FBA on Amazon. There's people that do like a hybrid, they do both. And then there's people that do only FBM. I have seen with my own eyes, when I go drop my boxes off to UPS to send over to Amazon, I see a lot of people with like TVs and they're sending them out. And they must be profiting somehow if they're selling TVs. I just don't know how.
And there are also certain products that Amazon will not allow you to house, right, in their warehouse. I believe things like, let's say, if you want to sell fire extinguishers, you're not allowed to send that to Amazon. So I guess those you have no choice but to sell FBM, correct?
Yes, but then once again, it comes down to there's millions of products to sell.
Right.
Millions.
Right.
Do you have the time to do FBM? And that comes back to what Faisal said. It depends on the amount of manpower you have. Me, for example, for myself, I'm a full-time teacher. I'm doing Amazon, and the sale, like I have to go to sit there and send it over to the post office every day. It gets difficult, right? So it also depends on individuals and what they're comfortable with and what time they have to invest.
And also, Mujahid, I see the rank for this product is 6153. I don't know if you're going to be speaking about it later on, but if you can just spend some time on that, and how one of the questions Brother Arif Jackson has asked is, how do you know which product to identify and which one to sell based on demand?
Okay, so first thing, it's not what to sell, it's what sells. Right? We have to get out of this mentality, because a lot of people, when they start selling on Amazon, they're always asking, what do I sell? What do I sell? What do I sell? And it's with private label as well as arbitrage. It's always the question is, but Mujahid, what do I sell? right? It's not what do I sell, it's what sells. You know, I've sold brooms before and it made money, so I sold it. I've sold, you know, different products that just people want. The idea is not, oh well, you know what, I see this product and you know what, if I was the buyer, I would buy it. Yeah, maybe you would, but now the question is how many people are thinking more like you? So for arbitrage, it's this chart right here, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes. That's the most important thing that you're going to have to take away from when you leave this webinar, and that is this chart, which we'll talk about in about 2 minutes. So great questions, Ali, but I don't want to go too deep because then this is going to be something that is going to last till 5, 6 o'clock at the earliest, because I do go off on my tangents. I'm sure everybody in the panel knows and understands. I will go off on a tangent and it's going to be an hour before I get off. So if anybody does have questions about specific things, and it's something that is a deeper discussion, I'm more than willing to have conversations with them or even do more webinars in the future, specific to certain questions. Okay, so let's move on. This one right here, the Count or Stock OS add-on. Okay, and what this basically does, and this has been having a glitch recently, oh, it worked. Okay, and all this is doing is it's telling me all this information here about the other sellers, and I don't have to click in it and start counting, you know, how much inventory they have. It does all that for me at the click of a button. It's telling me right now, currently, there's five products in stock by FBA third-party sellers, 46 by merchant fulfilled. And then it goes and breaks it down. This seller right here, Mark's Best Markdowns, has 15 in stock, and he's merchant fulfilled. This guy's merchant fulfilled. If you look over here, this guy Eyes to See at 123.76 has 5 in stock, and he's Amazon fulfilled. He's FBA. He's fulfilling by Amazon. So this tool is great. It just saves you a lot of time. And just to check.
So Mujahid, in that example, since it was only one FBA at 123, if I were to lower my price, let's say 122, for example, would that increase my chances of getting on the buy box because I am FBA?
No.
I understand there's algorithms, but could that at least impact?
If Ali, if you're ever selling and you do something like that, I'm gonna come after you because that's what's called, that starts what's called a price war, right? So now you drop it 1 penny and you win the buy box, hopefully, right? And then I'll come in and I'll drop it 1 penny less, and then you're gonna be like, I can get it cheaper. And we're gonna go back and forth, and then the product becomes no profit. The second thing is also people have repricers on. So there's people that have thousands of items for sale. They're not going to sit there and price adjust all the time. So they get auto repricers that are computer apps and programs, right? And all it does is it's using rules to reprice. Now, when people don't know how to set those repricers up, what ends up happening is every time you're lowering it, their repricer is lowering it without them knowing. And before you know it, you come back and you're losing $5 on this product now. So that's why I said that, you know, I come after you, because yes, you can, and yes, with time and understanding, you understand how to do it. But as beginners, when you start to reprice as to win the buy box, it causes issues. And the biggest thing is the buy box is dynamic, right? So you might not win the buy box 100% of the time. You might win the buy box 10% of the time. Or your stock that you have in FBA warehouses might be closer to the buyer, and that's something that the Amazon algorithm uses. So sometimes you'll see, like, you know, there's products that we've all sourced that we're not on the buy box. We're looking at it, we're not on the buy box, but we're making sales. So that's why it says 83% of sales are from the buy box. Other sales happen other ways. We don't know why or how. Only Amazon knows that, and they're not sharing. So I hope I answered that question. Now, in terms of this rank, we'll talk about soon. Over here, what else is there? That's it. Okay, this is the big one, Keepa. Now, Keepa is something that we use to make our purchases and kind of know why we're making our purchases. and we look at historical data to be able to say, well, you know what, historically, it makes sense to buy a product like this, right? So like, for example, right now, I'm looking at this Keepa chart and I'm saying the following. I'm saying Amazon over here, see this button right here? Amazon is not on, okay? If we look right here, and I just want to pull this up real quick to show you what Amazon looks like. See all that orange under it? That's Amazon being on. So we want to try to avoid that. Now I feel like I'm going off in a tangent, so I'm just going to give you a brief basic idea of what the Keepa chart looks like. Keepa is one of the most important things you can go. We've been doing it for 3 years, 4 years, and we still don't understand Keepa all the way. Nobody does. It's just a very powerful tool.
And to put it simply, it's simply additional insights, right, into inventory available out there and who's selling it, how much Amazon has, for
Right.
example,
So
right?
simply put, okay, give me 1 second. It's just a tool that's giving you historical data on different things. And based on those data, you analyze the data just to get an idea of how has it been selling in the past and trying to find trends, right? So like if you look over here, I'm just looking at this and I'm saying over here, it historically for the past 3 months has been selling for about $100 right here. Okay, and that's by a merchant fulfilled. So let's just quickly go through these over here, the ones that are important, and then we'll move on from there because I really don't want to get too much deep into it. I know there's going to be a lot of questions on it. There's going to be a million questions on Keepa, and we can go off really deep into Keepa, really deep. And like I said, I will go off on a tangent and kind of veer away from the whole thing. And I don't want to make, I want to make sure that people just get what they, the information they want. And then definitely people can ask questions and I can answer as much as possible. So going back to this over here, like I said, was Amazon being on stock. So historically, we can see when Amazon was on stock. This button over here, you see the orange triangles? That's just basically saying when third-party sellers have been in stock. This over here, this line right here, purple line, is what the buy box was. Now notice how over here, okay, you see that it's a third-party FBA selling it at the 139.55, but the buy box is with the merchant fulfilled at 127.98. So like I said, it's not always if you're doing FBA, you're always going to win the buy box. In this case, you know, the merchant fulfilled is winning it. But what's interesting to note is right now, currently over here, while we're looking at it, the price is 123.76 and it's FBA fulfilled. It's shipped from Amazon, sold by Eyes to See. And there's a cheaper option. I can actually go in here, click this, and I can add this one to cart. See that, 117, free delivery March 15 to April 1. This is a merchant fulfilled guy. He's shipping from his warehouse and this is his seller name. So he's not winning the buy box, even though he's cheaper. Okay, so is everybody okay? You guys, Ali, anything more than that?
No, I think that was perfectly explained. Thank you.
Okay, so that's that. Arif, if you don't mind sharing your screen again. I just want to make sure I hit every point. Let me just stop sharing. Okay, yeah, so RevSeller I showed you. FBA calculator is just like RevSeller. DS Amazon Quick View, that was this thing that I showed you. Online seller add-on tool.
Sorry,
Okay.
Vijay, just a quick question on all of these tools that we're talking about. A question coming is, are these tools available as default to seller's account, or a special programming expertise is required to incorporate this into a seller account?
So it's not on your seller account. It's going to be basically on your browser. All you're doing is you're downloading Chrome extensions. And the Chrome extensions do different things. You just have to turn it on. Keepa itself is a website. It's a Chrome extension. It's a must-have.
Can I add to that, Mujahid?
Yes, absolutely.
So some of these extensions are free, which you can just add to your Chrome extensions. Some you have to pay for. For example, like Mujahid said, the Keepa ones and the Rev Seller ones are a paid extension.
The other ones that we showed are all free, and there's like Ali Dinani had spoken for in the beginning. He said that there's so many different opportunities, programmers that are out there. Find a way to write a Chrome extension that's going to help, that's going to help a seller in whatever way. It's there's so many different fields that you can go into Amazon. It's a deep, deep, deep ocean. We're only talking about one little drop of it, to be quite honest, which is selling using arbitrage on Amazon.
And Mujahid, just to add my own personal opinion here, I before we had this thing set up, I was doing my own research as well. I see a question here. That's why I'm bringing this point up. When you look at all of these YouTube FBAs, a lot of the advice there and the tools that they push is, in my opinion, correct me if I'm wrong, is geared towards a private seller tool. Like, so for example, they will push Amazon Scout, Amaze Scout. They'll push
Helium 10,
Helium, and all of these
Jungle
tools.
Scout, yes.
Yeah, Jungle Scout. All of these tools. There's a lot of tools, but there's specific tools if you want to do retail arbitrage or online arbitrage. And there's other tools that, in my opinion, that's all I've been seeing on YouTube is they're pushing that, because those are, that's a whole different topic that we're not going to go into, I think. But it has its own opportunity there, that
Mhm.
if you were to hit there, gold
Then
there, you are set for a long time.
no.
But well, with a disclaimer.
If that was the truth, then you know what? You'd be seeing me do this webinar in another country, sitting on the beach.
All I keep
That's the
seeing is
reality.
I make $40,000 a month.
No, and you're absolutely right. So thank you for bringing that up. And I'll be very honest with you. This is not a get rich quick scheme. It's not. Um, it requires work. And upfront, it requires a lot of work, especially with arbitrage. There's going to be days that you're going to go retail arbitrage. You're going to go out for 3 hours and find nothing. There'll be days that you'll go, Amazon, and we'll get more into all this. I don't want to get too much into this because Oscar will talk about some of this, but it's a reality. Like, this not, we're not trying to tell you guys, oh, we're all minting money, money's rolling in.
Yeah,
But
and
yeah, and to talk about that other thing that you said, yes, absolutely. There's different tools for different models. So, private label, yes, there's a lot of tools out there. The only tool you need, in my opinion, for anything to do with arbitrage and retail arbitrage, and I think a lot of you guys before this webinar didn't even know something like retail arbitrage existed. I know I saw a question that somebody asked, why would somebody buy it from me for more expensive on Amazon than on Walmart? Um, Basic answer, why are you using Google to search for things and not Yahoo?
convenience.
Right? You have people that are just they want to buy something, they just type in Amazon.com and just search for something. They don't even look anywhere else. As crazy as that sounds, it's a reality. And one day if you go into this thing, you might see it and be shocked at what people buy for what prices.
Yeah,
But
and,
that,
and,
yeah.
and and I think you hit one point on the nail, Mujahid. There is, one of the main reasons why we wanted to do this webinar is, again, like you said, it's not a get rich quick scheme. You may get lucky or not, but it was not intended for that. The intention for this is the acknowledgement that our community globally is suffering right now. And we are built on a backbone of entrepreneurship. Our heritage, not just, I mean, if you look at those, at least those who migrated from East Africa and everywhere, the backbone of our heritage is entrepreneurship. And right now, that sector is struggling significantly with everything going on. And the purpose of this webinar was to provide a helping hand and a secondary source of income to anyone who might be struggling. You don't have to be struggling to get into this, but the point here, the driving factor and our catalyst here was to help those who are struggling and introduce to you an alternate source of income. Now, that, like Mujahid said, that doesn't mean that you're not going to have to put in the hard work for it, but at least, if that road, inshallah, opens up for you, Allah gives the risk, and we're simply the channel providing you with those signs, to kind of take you through the road. But we're clearly not making the road for you.
Right. Um, Absolutely. Definitely. Now, the other thing also is that, it's a lot of stuff. And to be quite honest with you, it's easier to start a business on e-commerce for many reasons. One of them being you don't need a brick and mortar, so you don't have to worry about those other costs. But to be quite honest, I don't know if I'd be able to do it if I had to do this physically. Um, but it is easier and it's a different way, and I think it can be whatever way you want it to be, because I don't think success is measured only by finance, right? Success might mean you have more time for your family. Success might mean you're able to get a vacation once a year. So everybody measures their own success differently, but this can be a springboard to help you succeed, and you just have to do your work on it. Like, it's not there. There is no get rich quick scheme at all. So definitely. Okay, so let's move on. I think this part is done. And I know there's going to be a lot of questions on this, so we'll answer them when the questions come at the end. Right now, what I do want to do is I want to give it over to Oscar. Oscar is going to be talking about the not so rosy parts about Amazon, because everything so far has sounded really, really, really nice, right? 50-something% of all Amazon sales are people like us that are third-party sellers. We just showed you a product that's making $40-50 a sale. Things look great, but what's the reality? There's also another side to it that's part of the reality of selling on Amazon. So Oscar, if you don't mind taking it away.
Thank you, Mujahid. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. So I'll be giving you a brief overview on Amazon deactivation and suspension. Firstly, as a disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer or Amazon expert in this area. The reason why I chose to speak about this is because my account was deactivated the first month of selling on Amazon, and I had to take steps to get it reactivated. So the most important thing we need to keep in mind is that this is Amazon's platform. They're giving you the privilege to sell on it. So you have to abide to all their terms and conditions as an Amazon seller. Amazon has a lot of videos on their portal. I would highly recommend you browsing through those videos before selling. So if Amazon does deactivate your account, in most cases, they give you a chance to appeal. They give you a certain time frame to respond, but in that time frame, they hold onto your funds and any inventory stored at their warehouse. If your appeal gets denied, you can still reappeal again. I'm not sure exactly how many times they let you reappeal, but from what I hear, after 3 appeals, they stop responding to you. Sometimes they tell you how many appeals you can submit. At this point, I would highly recommend you to seek professional legal advice if you want to continue selling on Amazon, or at least recover the funds and inventory they are holding. Next slide, please. So these are a few tips you should avoid while selling on Amazon. As we mentioned earlier, this is Amazon's playground. Abide to their rules. Never sell fake or illegal products. Selling used items as new. You can sell it as used if you like to. Reputation doesn't matter. You could be a long-standing seller with good metrics, but if any reason Amazon feels you're not abiding to their rules, they can deactivate you. Never open multiple accounts in the same household without getting a written permission from Amazon. They can track your IP address and shut all your accounts down. Never ask for paid reviews. They only want organic reviews. Never redirect customers to your website. Never dropship. Do not price gouge, especially with COVID-related products. I would actually stay away from those products like masks and stuff. Maintain good metrics. You can view your metrics on the Amazon selling platform under the tab Account Health. This is what I'm going to talk about next.
Now, let's go. Sorry, 1 second. If you could just go back to the previous slide, I had a quick question. When you say dropship, just want to clarify what we mean is that, if somebody orders Nike shoes from me, and then I then go on to Nike.com because I know it's on sale, and then I buy it from there, and I have the shipping address to the person who bought it from me on Amazon, right? And that's the one that is frowned upon.
Yeah. So basically,
don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah. So basically, if the package arrives to the customer home and it has got Nike original. Let's say Walmart. I take Walmart. If Walmart's written all over the box and they open it up and they see like a Walmart invoice, that's not allowed. I mean, Amazon will like, you be banned for life, you know. So
Yeah.
don't do that, you know.
Yeah, and also I guess, and I'm sure we'll cover it later, but there's a difference between getting suspended and banned, correct? Or there are multiple terminologies there. And Mujahid, I don't know if we're going to cover it later, but
Well, that was on the first
Next.
page. So basically, suspended is like they have suspended your account because of something that you did. You didn't apply to their policies, or your metrics were like, you know, off, or you had like a high order defect rate. So they will suspend your account until you can prove to them that it was a mistake, or you know, you have the documents to prove that what goods you're selling are authentic. So once you prove to them, they'll open you up. But if they feel whatever you're sending in is not correct or isn't meeting the guidelines, then they could ban you. And if they do ban you, don't go and open up another account, because they don't allow multiple accounts. So they'll even shut that account down. Don't think, okay, this is done with. Now I'll go and open up a different business entity and open up a different account. That is not allowed on Amazon either.
Yeah, just to really quickly speak on that as well. Once you're suspended or you're banned, suspended means you can really, but if you're banned, you know, that's it, you're done. Like you can't sell on Amazon anymore. Even if you create like another account or anything, they'll just keep blocking it. Banned is like it's done. Suspended is okay, we're suspending you. We're gonna have, you know, so before you get banned from Amazon, even no matter how bad of a situation is, it's just, it's, you can still appeal it, you can still get law, you know, you can take it to court, stuff like that. Once all that is done and they say, okay, no more, now you're banned, right? So once you're banned, it's done, game over. No more Amazon, FBA, FBM, none of that.
And just a follow-up question, Mujahid and Asghar, on the getting banned using multiple accounts under same name. I think it's also important to know that, and this I didn't know this until I recently found out from you, is even if you have your Amazon account on your phone and you were to visit your friend's house who is also an Amazon seller,
Yeah.
right? And let's say if you log into their Wi-Fi, at that point, you know, you're essentially, you know, on the same connection, and that could also jeopardize.
It could be a problem. Why take the risk, you know?
So yes, absolutely. It's not going to ban you once again. It might suspend your account or it might deactivate your account, and you can explain it to Amazon. And like Oscar said, why with Amazon, a lot of times things take forever. So you might be, you know, deactivated for 3 months because you want to check your sales while you're watching the Super Bowl at your friend's house. You know, if you do, just use your own your internet connection, your own phone connection. Don't use Wi-Fi. So be careful with that. But it won't ban you. I don't think it would ban you. It would just deactivate or suspend you for until you can prove otherwise.
All right, so this is the account health page on Seller Central. Account health is one of the most important indicators of how well you're doing as a seller with regards to customer satisfaction. One of Amazon's mission statement is to be the Earth's most customer-centric company, so they take this seriously. I'll just give you a very brief overview of this page. Firstly, I would recommend you viewing this every day just to make sure your metrics look good and that Amazon does not require anything from you. I would even recommend you check your messages regularly, because if a customer sends you a message, you generally have 24 hours to respond. If you don't respond in that time frame, that could have an impact on your account. I would even recommend all sellers to download the Seller Amazon app on their phone. This way you can keep track of what's happening in real time. So looking at this slide, you can see that the account health is broken down into 3 categories. The first one is customer service performance. You need to maintain less than 1% order defect rate. Order defect rate is the number of orders with defect divided by total orders for that time period. And order defect comprises of 3 things: negative feedback, the A to Z guarantee. This is the guarantee that Amazon provides their customers that their package will arrive in a timely manner and in the conditions stated on the listing. If this does not happen, we'll give a full refund. Some exceptions do apply, but we won't go into that. Chargeback claims. This is when a customer asks for a chargeback from the credit card company. Next is policy compliance. Amazon wants you to be compliant in different areas listed below. If they feel you are not, they will request you to send further documentation. And lastly is shipping performance. This is more this is more to do with sellers that deal with FBM only. So as long as you maintain these metrics, you should be good. Late shipment rate under 4%, pre-fulfillment rate under 2.5%, and valid tracking rate over 95%. So what happens is that when you get an order through FBM, Amazon gives you a few days to send out the order. So let's say if the order came on January 1st, they give you like probably until January 3rd to send it out. If you send it out on January 4th, that could have an impact on your account. Amazon even has their own, so basically they have deals with like UPS and FedEx and USPS. So you could buy shipping through Amazon. If you buy shipping through Amazon, they will track the package for you. And if there's any problems, it's Amazon's responsibility. If you go out and use your own shipping methods, or if anything goes wrong, you have to prove to Amazon why. Personally, if I don't do FBM too, I mean, on a personal level, I don't do FBM too much. So I just use Amazon's shipping. It's just easier for me and less headaches,
Also, Asghar, if I were to, I'm just reading a question that came in. If I were to open my Amazon account, but then I keep it dormant, I don't sell anything, is there anything that would they shut us down, or would they, as long as you're paying your monthly fees, they don't care?
Well, firstly, if you open up an account and it's dormant, I wouldn't. I would get the individual plan because that's $0. I don't know if after a few months of not using it, if they will send you like a letter asking you to shut down.
I'll speak
I
on
would
that.
not pay for it, because why pay for something that you're not using,
Yeah.
But
Thank
that's
you.
on a personal level,
Thank you. So in terms of your account being dormant, it should not be an issue. But the one thing I would make sure is you call Amazon and let them know I have an account. And what's going to happen is they'll tell you to give them some information just to make sure it's you. They're very big on making sure that it's you are real. I know some of these people in this panel, some of them have gotten postcards to their house before they were able to start selling to verify address. I think some people were asked to share, a legal photo ID of some sort. So what happened was, sorry, I just was reading the message. It's just they ask you for weird stuff sometimes, but don't open another account. So like, for example, 5 years ago, you tried this venture, it didn't work out, time, whatever. Now you want to try again, don't open another account, because if Amazon catches any window of 2 accounts being open, their bot will immediately shut it down, because they are having issues with people opening multiple accounts. When I'm talking about multiple accounts, I'm talking about seller accounts, not buyer accounts, right? It's just seller accounts I'm talking about. So don't open a multiple account, call them, tell them, hey, listen, this is what the email I used. I used to have an account. What can I do? They'll walk you through it, hopefully, as to what your steps need to be for you to be reactivated. And also, like Oscar said, if you are dormant, then I would not do the paid account, the professional account.
Can I add to that?
Sure.
In addition to receiving a postcard to verify your address and verify your account before you can open it, recently they've been sending out a link for a video chat to verify you are who you are, and to verify all your documentation aligned with what you've submitted. So that's something that you got to keep in mind and be patient before selling on Amazon.
And it also depends, like for some people that doesn't happen, right? If they feel like you're not real, or if they feel like your address is not real, or if they feel like whatever, your credit card is not real, they will inquire in whatever way they feel appropriate before reopening or opening an account for you. So like Faisal said, they might ask you to have a, web conference with them, and you have to show your face.
Right.
You
For
know, or-
example, in my address, I have North Massapequa, so I put N dot Massapequa, and that raised the flag, and they had to send a postcard to verify my address.
Okay.
All right.
Uh,
Any other questions?
Asghar and Mujahid, we touched upon drop shipping directly to the customer. How does Amazon feel about drop shipping directly to the warehouse?
Don't drop ship
Period.
in any form, way, or whatever. Don't drop ship. It's gonna Amazon will shut your account down. And when they shut your account down, I just want to be very clear with this. You have $10,000 because drop shipping a lot of people do, and they make a lot of money real quick. And Amazon is showing you have $20,000 for the next payout. All of a sudden, your account gets suspended. That 20,000 you're not getting.
They will
You
hold.
lost it. Like unless you get legal help or something and maybe get it back, it's in the terms of service. If we ban you or suspend your account, all funds that you have with us, we will use to repay our customers. End of the line. Don't drop ship. Don't even think about drop shipping. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Oscar, were you going to say something else?
That's good. That's good. Thank you, Mujahid. All right. So next slide, please. Okay. And lastly, how to get reinstated. These are tips that could be useful. No one really knows how Amazon analyzes appeals of plans of action or appeals. But talking to professionals in this area, these are a few tips that I came up with. Do not hold them against me. Always keep the plan of action or appeal simple and to the point. Do not write lengthy paragraphs. Focus on what Amazon wants from you. Keep in mind that Amazon is receiving thousands of appeals per day. If you make it complicated, they will just deny your appeal. Do not hurry to respond. Give them, they give you a certain number of days to respond. After writing your appeal, have someone that knows more about it. Look at it. The groups on Facebook that have professionals that deal with Amazon issues. Probably contact them or hire a lawyer. Just make sure your first appeal is the best appeal that you could send in. After the appeal, it may take them some time to respond. I've heard that it takes a few minutes up to a few months. It took me 3 months before I heard back from them. You can always call customer service, but they tend to be very limited in their knowledge. You cannot get in touch with the department that deals with appeals via phone. So basically, it's a waiting game. That's it. Good luck.
Asghar, sorry, this is for all panelists. What do you do if, let's say, you're selling a product and then somebody falsely reports you that you're selling counterfeit products, and then Amazon will shut you down, right? And maybe Mujahid or anybody else or Asghar, if you're going to talk about, okay, what would you have to potentially go through to
So
prove to
basically,
them?
I had an inauthentic claim. I found this product. I started on Amazon. I started with FBM because I didn't know which way to go, and I was new. And I just got lucky. And the first product I found in the first week, I sold 20 of them. And I sent it all through FBM. And I guess Amazon figured that, okay, this guy is selling something that's he just opened up his account. Within the first week, he sold 20 of them. And it's all through FBM. So they can't even view the product. So they shut me down for an inauthentic claim. So I had to take all the receipts. They asked me for all the receipts that of what items I sold. I had to take all the receipts and send them all in. And the receipts were from like a big vendor, and because the vendor is pretty well known, they opened me up, So save your receipts, save all the documentation, from your wholesalers, whoever you use, because if they do shut you down, you will need all the information,
Yeah, and that's really key, especially if you, let's say, if you were to buy stuff from a vendor like Marshalls. Keep in mind the receipt, the UPC that's on the receipt is a customized Marshall's barcode. It's not the manufacturer's barcode.
Exactly.
So when you have the receipt and the tag, make sure you take a picture of that and you are inventorying that accurately. So if I think you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. It's not if you'll get shut down, it's when you will get shut down, right? Because eventually you will get shut down because either for no fault of your own, maybe somebody, a competitor will maybe report you or anything, right? And that doesn't mean it's the end of the world. You just have to have your documentation ready so you can be reinstated.
Yes, and then the other thing, Oscar, I'm sorry to cut you off. The other thing is, and I saw this question previously as well, about invoices and won't I need an invoice if I'm buying and selling like arbitrage? The answer is no. What happens is you have to be, once again, like Oscar said, read carefully what they're saying on those emails. They're a lot of times when they're asking for documentation that use, counterfeit claims and stuff like that, they're saying, please provide us with either a receipt or an invoice. And that's very important because invoices you can get from wholesalers and stuff like that. You can't get it from Target or Walmart and stuff like that, but you can provide receipts because you've legally bought it basically. And there are laws in the US about being able to resell items that you have bought. So they do accept receipts. Now, if it's in regards to trying to ungate a brand, ungate meaning, because I know Ali's going to tell me, well, what does ungate mean? So, because we use terminology, and it's Ali's going to make sure that I try to use terminology that the average person can understand. Ungate basically means to get opened up in a brand or opened up in a category where you are restricted from. And so in order to get yourself ungated, you need documents that are invoices or letters from the manufacturer, right? But to fight a counterfeit claim or an IP claim or something like that, you can use receipts. You just have to look at what the email or the message says that they want. And it won't always suspend your account. They might deactivate your account and maybe suspend your account. But from what I know, I don't know if they'll ban your account.
They may deactivate that listing. So if you're listing,
right. Right. So it depends once again on the situation. Sometimes what they'll do is they'll deactivate the listing. Sometimes if it's happening a lot, they'll deactivate your account. There's different situations and scenarios. And another thing, Amazon, like we said, is very finicky, and they might do something for Oscar that's, just we provide documentation, please. Your listing is live, you're still selling. And for me, they might tell me, sorry, your whole account is shut down right now. Provide that information. It all depends on how your metrics are and how long you've been selling on Amazon and how good of a seller you are. Because if you are customer centric and you have a great feedback rating, Amazon sees that and you do get rewarded for that.
And Mujahid, just while we're talking about ungating, not to go into the weeds of that topic, but let's say if I would like to sell a product that I found on sale at a local store, let's just say it's a Monopoly game by Hasbro, right? Now, those are something that normally get ungated a lot because you have to have a reputation with Amazon to be able to sell it, or whatever the reason is, right? Whatever the product is there, before I buy it from the retailer, is there a way I can either scan it through my seller's account or anything to find out whether I am ungated or I will not be allowed to sell it?
Yes. So if you use a seller app, which is a free app that you get from Amazon when you have applied to become a seller and get accepted, you can download the app, put in your information, and it just ties into your seller dashboard. It will say restricted. It will say restricted. And then also and I'm not going to get into it because I was about to go into a tangent right now. And that was to show you guys how it's specifically done on Amazon.com, but I'm not going there right now. But to answer your question very shortly, yes, the app will show you restricted. There are ways to get unrestricted or ungated. Like for example, you said right now, the Monopoly. If anybody finds toys right now, you're going to be gated. You're not going to be allowed to sell toys. When you start off on Amazon, you're not allowed to sell toys. You're not allowed to sell a lot of different categories and a lot of different brands. And you have to work on increasing your trust with Amazon, so to speak. And with that, Amazon will start to auto ungate you. You might see something that says restricted. You click apply, and it'll say, congratulations, you've been you've been approved. They didn't ask for anything. Or sometimes you'll say you need to give invoices and stuff like that. Once again, depending on the account and the seller. If you are asked for invoices and letters, there are ways using legitimate ways to get ungated in that. So like, for example, getting groceries ungated. There's a way to do that. And it's a legitimate and legal way to do it, like Amazon legal, okay, as well as US legal. It's completely a legitimate way. But I don't want to get into that right now. That's like a course in itself.
And also, I would just like to mention, it's also very important to familiarize yourself with what restrictions Amazon has with what you can sell, what you cannot sell, right? I think there's a lot of stuff that they don't allow you to sell. I don't want to go into details, but I just keep it as a general comment that please make sure you review your restrictions, and those restrictions may even vary based on the country you're selling in, I think.
Mhm. No, and yes, absolutely. And Amazon will let you know. There's certain things that you're not allowed to sell. Just because you're not allowed to sell it. There's certain things that because you're from this country, you can't sell this product.
Right, and
One thing
my point was don't buy it and then realize you can't sell it.
Oh yeah. Always
Yeah.
scan it on the app and make sure that it doesn't show restrictions. And then on the app, there's certain things that you'll see. I don't want to get into it, but there will be certain things you'll see. Like for example, if you scan something on the right side, you'll see a little box, like an actual box, like a shipping box. If you click it, it'll tell you why it's there. So always make sure. And once again, if you get into it, just do your research. I mean, this is just information. It's not a training.
Got it.
So I just want to let you guys know this is just an information session and not a training. But
I'm just gonna.
definitely.
We have a participant, Brother Inayat Habib, who has raised his hand. Brother Inayat, I'm gonna ask you to unmute yourself. I think you should be able to.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
Alaikum salam.
Just like to share with you my experience when I was selling as a distributor to many of the Amazon sellers. Can I do that?
Sure.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. And you know what? Actually, I've thought about you already. Don't give it to anybody else. I'm gonna have a conversation with you about
Anytime.
about getting some stuff because I remember when I was young, you used to sell video games. So I've been meaning to call you. So we'll talk later.
You can do anytime. Anyway, just overall how I used to do it. So I used to sell a lot of closeouts of video games, accessories, games, software, everything. And I sold to many of Amazon sellers. So what they would do is buy from me bulk. Okay. If I had 10,000 pieces, they rather buy all the 10,000 from me rather than sell them to 3 different people and then compete. And they would send me shipping labels. So instead of me shipping to the buyer, to my customer, I would ship straight via trucking or FedEx account, whatever he provides me, straight to Amazon. So I don't know that's what you meant when you said you're not allowed to drop ship. As a distributor, I was allowed to drop ship to Amazon on behalf of my customer.
The question is, are you allowed to do that?
I was allowed to do that.
It's not really drop shipping. It's because they're giving you their label. With drop
give me the shipping labels.
Yeah,
right.
They're giving you their labels.
To ship to Amazon.
Drop
shipping would be if, let's say, for example, me and you are working together, right? And I make a sale on Amazon, and I'll tell you, Inayat Uncle, listen, I made a sale on Amazon. Can you ship it out to this person? And then, I get another 5 orders, and I say, hey, Inayat Uncle, I got another 5 orders. Ship it out to these customers. That's drop shipping.
With your label,
we never did the individual drop ships. It was basically shipping straight to Amazon in bulk, on trucking, whatever.
Right. So to the Amazon warehouses, correct?
Right. Yes. And many times, I think Amazon would call us back to verify those invoices are legit, the product are legit, whether they're refurbished, manufactured, or they're brand new. It's before you never used to do that, but after some time, I think there were a lot of people selling fake news or taking invoice from one company and then shipping, buying 50 here and then shipping 500 using my same invoice over and over again.
Yes.
So they found what people used to do, and I used to get a lot of phone calls every day. verifying that this is legit product, the guy is legit buyer and selling on Amazon. I just wanted to
Absolutely.
share that with you guys.
Thank you for your
Absolutely.
question, Brother Nat.
Thank you so much.
We have Brother Mustafa Ladda, who is asking a question. Brother Mustafa, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself. You should be able to
Assalamu alaikum,
unmute now.
everyone.
Wa alaikum salam.
Thank you so much for organizing this and taking out the time. I did have one question about reinstating your account. I had an Amazon account I set up maybe between 3 and 5 years ago, and I was just testing out the market or whatever, and I didn't end up selling any product or anything. And in the last month, I went back on and I was looking into it, and I noticed a lot of things have changed. At that time, having an account was free, and a lot of their pricing models and things were different. And now, I emailed them to try and get it reinstated as an individual rather than a professional seller. And I got some weird response basically saying that they weren't able to reinstate mine. And on this call, I know you guys mentioned not to create a new account if you're in this situation. And you also mentioned that the best way to get in touch with everybody with these in this situation is to email them. So I just wanted to touch base to see if there's any more information you could provide, and if there isn't, that's fine as well.
Sure, I can answer that for you, hopefully. So you just to clarify, you said that you have an account that's about 3 to 5 years old, correct? And it's now deactivated? Is that the case, Mustafa?
Sorry, I muted. I got muted. Yeah, that's the case. So I didn't sell any product on Amazon, and I went to go log into my seller's account, and it was I guess it was inactivated. I'm not sure if that was a ban or a temporary reinstatement issue, but I did send out an email, and they were basically like, "There's nothing we can do," and they said I should create a new account. But I kind of wanted to stop until I got more information because according to the terms of service, they don't want multiple different accounts.
Well, they don't want multiple different accounts with the same bank account and stuff like that. So technically, you can have multiple separate accounts as long as you get permission from Amazon in writing saying that you're allowed. And take that, print it, save that email, everything. Because if you do end up getting suspended, you can always show that to them and say, but that's what you guys said. So in regards to that, what you can do is, why don't you get in touch with me and we'll talk more about that, because that's going to be more of a deeper thing, I think.
That's what I figured. It might be a bit more deeper.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
that's fine. So
just give me a call, or one of the panel members, if you want to call them, definitely we can figure something out.
Okay, perfect. So I'll reach out to you. Thank you so much.
Perfect.
Thank you,
No
Mustafa.
problem.
We have one more question, but either comment or question by Dr. Maladina.
Can we just 1 second? I'm sorry.
Yes.
Oscar, are you done with your part? You're done with your part of the presentation, right?
Yeah.
So then we'll just take whatever questions you guys have and continue with that straight. But before we do that, sorry, I need everybody to try and join this. And this is the Amazon Smile program. For those of you that are not aware, Amazon Smile basically is this charity thing that Amazon does. Every sale that or every purchase that you make as a customer, Amazon's going to donate 0.5% to the charity of your choice. We ask that you try and work with our Jamaat. Our Jamaat does have this on, and if you just look for Shia Isnashi Jamaat of New York, you can hopefully sign up, and it's no cost to you. It's just whatever you buy. If it's eligible, 0.5% will go to the Jamaat. The Jamaat has not asked us to do this. I think it's just they've given us an opportunity. So I thought that we could just bring it out for people that were not aware of this thing.
No, I appreciate that, Mujahid. Thank you so much for plugging that.
Okay, no problem. So now we'll take 4 questions.
Dr. Maladina, I'm just going to unmute you. You should be able to unmute now.
Thank you very much, Ali, and your team and the panelists for organizing this. And as you said, it's very much needed at this time that we are going throughout the world. My question was that we make a few products outside USA. So if we wanted to get into the Amazon market in the USA, then we go to ship it out from wherever it is being manufactured into the USA. And would it go through all the regulations that the US requires for importation of such products?
The short answer, yes. Um, it's and then the other thing you also have to be careful about, make sure that you're doing your research to make sure that there's enough search volume for this product. You're talking more about it like a private label kind of thing. It's basically a brand or a no brand product that you're selling and you want to test the markets in the .com, Amazon.com. Yeah, so you would have to go through all the regulations that are required. You'd have to ship it in to the US, and then there would be, you know, tariffs, inspections, etc. Just like the way you would do it if you wanted to sell it at a brick and mortar store in the US.
And Dr. Molina, I just wanted to mention that we may be freezing here, but the warmth around your background just warms our heart. So God bless you. We needed that. Are there any other questions we can answer? Otherwise, we can start wrapping up.
I think there might be some that did we get all of them that were in the chat?
I think we might have, but
okay, so let's try to see if there's any more in the chat, just to make sure that we've answered everybody's question. I don't want unless there is somebody else that wants to ask while we're looking.
And if your question has not been answered, feel free to reach out to sijnycenter@gmail.com, and we'll be happy to forward the question on to our panelist. And please accept our apologies if we haven't answered your question yet. But before we end, I am just going to reread our disclaimer. As you know, these individuals are taking time out of their personal time to teach us, to educate us on an informational basis. They are not professionals. They are not qualified in any way in terms of any certificate or anything, but it's just they're doing it out of the goodness of their heart to help the community at large. So the disclaimer we would like to read is: the views and opinions expressed by the presenters today are solely their opinions based on their personal experiences. The information presented today should not be taken as fact. Any conclusion reached or decisions made by the listeners during or after the session is strictly theirs and not at the direction, suggestion, or implication of the sessions or the speakers. The purpose of this was to allow you to show you that additional helping hand of getting the supplemental income in these difficult times. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant all of us, inshallah, the risk that we deserve in the halal way. And on behalf of the SIJNY management, I could not thank these panelists anymore about how much effort they've put in to bring this to success today. And as you know, there's a lot of topics we can discuss. We can go into an advanced seminar as well, and inshallah, we will be gauging your interest. We will be sending you a survey form where you can share your feedback. And if there is interest in the advanced topics, we'll ask you what those topics are as well. And we will be absolutely happy to take this as a part 2 and allow you to take a deeper dive into this journey. With that, if there are no additional comments from our panelists, I would like to once again thank them all. Thank you all for attending, and inshallah, have a nice day, and wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you so much.
Asante.
Alaikum salam.
Thank you, Ali.
Asante.